This is my early warning defense system right here. Putin the cat, the other guy Rocky. Can't pick him up because the other guy, he like purrs and just can't pick him up yet. But anyway, I heard about cats. You can they can detect earthquakes better than the most sensitive equipment out there. So I figure he's going to be my early warning missile detection system in case Korea does something. I don't know. I'll tell you, there's another rumor out there, and you know, it's Kim Jong-un, whatever his name is. He says that they're going to do something in April. There's only a few days left, so we'll find out, right? Anyway, it's supposed to happen. It's supposed to happen. But you know, seriously, there's one thing that's screwed up, and you know, I got to say like this. You know, if you really looked, I knew this. You know, I'm almost like, maybe it's newer to people, maybe they already know it, and maybe, but to me, I'm like, you know, I don't even think about it anymore. It's old hat, but pretty much anytime the U.S. got in a war with some place, it was kind of like events were deliberately allowed to be that way. You know, they call that conspiracy history or whatever, but it's true. You know, I mean, you can take it too far, though. I mean, there's some things that aren't true. But, you know, you look about, you know, how we got in the Spanish-American War with the coal fire and Remember the Maine, and then the sinking of Lusitania, the Pearl Harbor, Gulf of Tonkin, you know. What else? What else, right? So, you know, there's one thing that's got me, though, about this deal with North Korea. Well, first off, you know, they say they got the technology now to make well, we know we got nuclear weapons, but they say they got the technology to actually put vehicles in space, which means they could do missiles over the USA, right? Now, the thing is, they don't have adequate anti-missile defense in the USA, especially on the East Coast, but I don't know about, you know, there's a lot of different things that can happen. It can happen from Iran or whatever, but, you know, it's not so much the nuclear attack. It's the EMP, the electronic magnetic pulse. They've been talking about this thing for umpteen years, man. I always said this deal with the year 2000. You know, when they had the year 2000, I didn't think something was going to happen here in the United States. As a matter of fact, when they had the year 2000, the Y2K bug, you know, that was the internet. Wasn't even that big then compared to what it is today. But they were like, the rumors were abuzz everywhere about all these catastrophic things that were going to happen. I was ordering computer components with my charge card electronically over the internet from Newegg.com back then, right? You know, from December 30th or 31st over to Millennium. And the transaction went through and everything, you know. But I always said, you know, what's going to happen where we have a Y2K event is going to be the EMP. And what's screwed up is that the situation now, from even like the year 2000, it's like we got a lot more dependence upon computer components left and right. I mean, I just put a video out about using a Spooky 2 remote and stuff. You know, and some people, it's probably like, I don't know, people probably looking at it like it's ridiculous, and some are like liking it, but it's you know, it's something like I think electronic gadgets are extremely useful. And I would not like an EMP for sure, you know. Although my fail-safe method is that I got a lot of stuff that I don't need anything that's electronic, and I can go back old school. But there's a study out, you know, forgetting about this Kim Jong-un's threats and stuff like that. There's a lot of garbage going on with this stuff because, like, you know, they're trying to confuse everybody with they're moving the missiles around in different places. Just to try to confuse the West. But, you know, I just remember for the last so many decades, these people over in North Korea have been saying something, one thing or another. But I do know this. We're entering a time of serious global financial crisis. And I also know that North Korea basically is controlled by China. And if you want to freaking keep it simple like that, like in other words, if something happens, they're going to be the ones that start it. It won't be China. It'll be something that North Korea starts it. And they're going to try to create a severe blow to the United States. Now, I also know that the Department of Homeland Security very recently put out a study about the dangers of a EMP attack from North Korea. You know, this all kind of fits in with a lot of stuff, man. I don't know. I'm not sure if it's going to happen right away, but, you know, it might not be that far off. I really don't know. I really don't know. But, you know, Kim, the leader of North Korea, with 100% of the vote, you know, he's very popular up there. He gets 100% of the vote when he's elected. He said that something's going to happen by April 30th. And, you know, here it is. We got a day left, basically. You know, I don't know. I think it's ridiculous, though. You know, I do think it's ridiculous that something's going to happen within the next day or two. But as far as, you know, the actual premise of them having EMP weapons, that would be the best way of attack. And, like, I think it's like, you know, there's a big intramural competition going on amongst the elite. You know, China, United States, everywhere, you know, Russia, whatever, whereby, you know, they're all into the New World Order. They all want to be on the top, but they want to be the top dogs. They don't want the USA, the Western elite, to be the top dogs. So they might try something through, like I would think China would try, Chinese elite would try something through their proxy. North Korea, you know, as the situation erodes with the economy throughout the world, right? I mean, it's kind of like the age-old deal. And it looks like, you know, the DHS has acknowledged this. You know? Screwed up, man. That's all I got to say. But, would actually, you know, the thing is, an EMP assault would blast the USA right back to the Stone Age. It don't even matter if it just did a part of the country. You know, if it did a part of the country that was... Because if you look at the GDP of the United States, the GDP of the United States is really concentrated in several big areas, especially in the Northeast around the New York City area. That's like a major, major slice of the GDP. In other words, if you took like LA, Chicago, Dallas, Miami, Boston, Baltimore, Atlanta, Boston, and New York areas, maybe, you know, I'm leaving out a little bit, so I'm probably leaving something out, you know, Denver, maybe. But, and that accounts for, those metropolitan areas account for about 50% of the GDP of the United States. So, especially if you had a EMP on the eastern seaboard, I mean, it would just take everything into a total disarray overnight, like, immediately. And that's where we don't have a lot of missile defense, actually. The Army uses THAAD, Theater High Altitude Air Defense, and the Navy uses Aegis, the ship-to-ship missiles, and they got, I don't know how the hell that damn thing works, but it's been around and improved upon for many decades now. But, you know, the thing I guess they could do around is the eastern seaboard would be to have the Navy over there. But, you know, as they're freaking backtracking and downscaling the military budgets, I just think it's just a matter of time. What gets me is the infrastructure itself with the electricity. They can actually harden it so the electricity is still delivered to people. Because, you know, like if they have an EMP attack, you know what? You know, I'm not 100% sure exactly what's going to happen, but I think it depends on where you are in the proximity of the pulse. Like, in other words, computers would be fried and digital cameras or something like that I'm using here, or something like that. But, you know, as far as anything that's electric, like a regular electric motor or something like that, or maybe some of the old school, more hardened, you know, there's some electronic stuff out there that is like pretty simple. Might use relays, capacitors, and things like that. Some of that stuff might be holding up pretty good, you know, unless it's right next to it. So, you know, the point is, if you can actually still deliver electricity through the grid, you know, the EMP effect, well, it could be overcome. It could be overcome. You know, it would be a bad thing maybe for a week, not something that would be bad for like 6 months to a year. And if it happens like that, I don't know. The whole thing's going down, man. So I don't know. This guy that's in charge of Korea, North Korea, he's threatened to do this before, you know, in April, at the end of, by the end of April, which is almost here. I don't know. It's probably a bunch of garbage. Like, because, you know, North Korea's been noted for throwing out bluster left and right. But the thing is with the Obama administration, they don't really recognize this threat too much. It's like a joke. You know, it's like, I don't know what the deal is, man. And sometimes what I really do think, though, is the real players, the real planners out there, you know, the next step is planned by them. In other words, if there is an EMP and there's a big problem in one major portion of the United States, and it goes back to the Stone Age for freaking months at a time, well, I say, you know, the whole deal was actually planned by the people on the top. But I find it very interesting that the Department of Homeland Security actually put out a big study about this, of the possibility of North Korea doing this. See, my personal opinion is, and I think it's more than an opinion, is that North Korea is going to actually set off World War III, more than anything. Because it's like they're the proxy of China. You know, they're all in cahoots with China and Russia and all that kind of garbage. But it would be like a rogue nation did it. It wouldn't be them directly. So in other words, you know, if North Korea did something, the U.S. isn't going to respond against China or Russia. They would respond against North Korea. But, you know, it'd be a matter of a big tumultuous time in the United States, and it would greatly, you know, it'd just be a matter of wait and see what the effects are, and then China or Russia would make its move. I think that's what's coming up, man. I don't know. I don't know exactly when, because they've been talking about this for umpteen years. I know it. But it's like, you know, there's other things coming up here that's coalescing to indicate this. And, you know, I don't think I just don't believe something's coming up by the end of April here, with 2 days left anyway. But the thing is, you know, that was something that was threatened by, you know, the leader of North Korea, that he's going to do something against the United States, and it's always been suspected if he did something really big against the United States, it would be an EMP attack. And again, I'm repeating myself, the DHS has done studies saying that they got the capabilities of doing it. So, I don't know, man. But, you know, if it don't happen within the next, you know, I don't think it's going to, you know, I don't believe it's going to happen in the next few days. But it's going to happen sooner or later. I think that is the game plan of how World War III is going to start. And, you know, I think it's in cahoots with the people on the top that run the West, too, you know. And, you know, it'll be mass confusion. It'll be cause, you know, Homeland Security to do its thing and all this other garbage. So, you know, I don't know what to do about it exactly, you know, to tell you the truth. But just beware that it's coming up, because I think it's a little bit more than one of these giddy conspiracy rumors. And, you know, you just want to make sure you go back to old school all the way. Personally, you know, if I was president of the United States, I would have fucking attacked North Korea. I don't give a shit. I would have attacked Iran too, and Syria. I don't give a shit. I would have done it. But you know, the business of USA on the top is not about winning. It's more about playing globalist bullshit all the way. You know, in other words, the situation's going to come to that one way or the other. I'd rather be the one taking the first shot. That's the way I look at it, you know? And, you know, the world opinion changes. You know, if the USA comes out on top of anything, the world opinion doesn't necessarily go against the USA. The world opinion goes against the USA when the world opinion perceives the USA as weak. You know, it's making a pretty bold statement, but that's exactly how it is. You know, everybody kisses your ass when you think you're strong. When they think you're weak, they don't give a shit. They don't give a shit. So, you know, actually, but I'm not president of the United States, but if I was, I would have already attacked Iran. I would have already attacked Syria. And I've already attacked North Korea. The hell with it. And you say, yeah, it's armchair. I'd go there. I don't give a shit. I'd be on the ground someplace over there too. You know? That's how I think of it, because, you know, you ain't gonna live, well, I don't know. I'd rather see them dead. That's the way I look at it. I'd rather see them dead first. And this yo-yo, Kim Il-jong, whatever the hell his damn name is, I keep forgetting, it's another Kim, right? There's been a few Kims over the last several decades. But I think when there's enough pressure, you know what'll happen? It's not like they're all going to unite against you, more than likely. You just got to freaking make it bad for them. And you know what happens? They got revolution internally. In other words, Assad has got a load of enemies around there with the Sunni Muslims he keeps suppressing. Same thing with Ahmadinejad. He's got a whole freaking load of enemies over in his own country. And Kim's got a whole bunch of load of enemies in his country, too. They got to have food testers and everything else like that. Once you put the pressure on him, because this guy's threatening the United States, I'd look at it like this. You threaten the United States, you're dead. That's how I look at it. That'd be my foreign policy. That's my foreign policy right there. But anyway, I don't know. But, we got a weak system in what's in play right now. And I suspect that, I don't think it's coming up in the next 2 days, but it's going to happen one of these days. They're going to allow North Korea to do its thing with an EMP attack, and then DHS is going to come down and crack down on everybody and restore order and with martial law or some crap because of the emergency situation. It sucks, man. That's all I got to say. It sucks. Anyway, over and out, but just, I don't want to put this out as a giddy rumor thing. It's actually factual, but you got to hang loose, man. You can't be like all freaking always worried about something, because I know about this shit for a gazillion years. But, you should also not be afraid of the USA to act, because when we act first, we act strongly, and we act in a policy that is focused, and, there's an actual, what's the goal is, and what do we got to accomplish, and what's going to happen after we accomplish the mission. Then you know what the freaking scoreboard is. You know what's got to happen. You know what the goals are. And then we get it done. It's when we got a bunch of wishy-washy leaders up there in Washington, waffling one way or the other like Obama and stuff. That's when we got problems. We got to know, this is what we're going to do, and we're going to do it, and we do it. That's it. And, the world opinion falls in place. It does fall in place. You can see this crap with Putin. When Putin actually acts like a strong leader, there's a whole bunch of freaking wishy-washy assholes get behind him because they got to hide behind a strong leader. If the United States acts like a strong leader, they all get behind you. They all get behind you. That's exactly what happens. So, EMP attack is going to come one of these days. I think it's in the cards. I think it's like a setup. I don't know when it's going to happen. But Kimmy from North Korea said it's going to happen, in the next 2 days. We shall find out. And Rocky says to hell with North Korea. Let's eat, right? Yeah. By the way, Rocky, you know what? You got the same birthday as Vladimir Putin. You know that? October 7th. Found that to be pretty interesting, huh? And your little companion over here, Putin the cat, he's June 7th, right? So how's that? The lucky sevens, huh? Right? You don't give a shit. Right? Eat your food. Meow. I always got to put some treats with this guy's food or else he doesn't eat it. It's freaking... Then he starts, right? You right? What do you say about that, huh? You don't give a shit. Little dog.